Broadcast live.
Our number one, another debut album. You know, Youngsta's done like 25, 28 mixtapes. This is his first ever album. He's our number one for a joint called Old Kappie.
Oh, Kappie, sending this out to my OGs who've blessed me, but they don't sneeze. In Hillbro, they've shown me Josie from the Gold Reef. Steg back, I used to pick a fight. I wasn't always on the winning side. I came home with the injured eye, now I'm scattered.
Away, it's YoungstaCPT, YoungstaCPT. Shout out to Stogie T for making me verse of the month. My verse is called Old Kappie, taken from the song Old Kappie, taken from my debut album 3T called Things Take Time. Salute us to Slick on Life. This is Behind the Bars. So the opening lines of the first verse of Old Kappie are, do I look like I'm a criminal? Just because I'm wearing different clothes, stereotypes make it difficult. I thought society was liberal. So I mean, just those, those beginning bars are already telling you that, we're being perceived as colored people to always be criminals, or to always be gangsters, and to always be like these negative figures and negative characters in society. But, actually there's more to us than meets the eye, as Optimus Prime would have said. We're the original and aboriginal, but what they did to us was despicable. Our ancestors probably didn't know they'd be killing generation indigo. So this is also mentioning the fact that, our society was colonized and imperialism reigned in South Africa, not allowing the nation to actually grow and be self-sufficient and be independent and sustain themselves. Instead, we were told what to believe and told how to work and, told what the truths of the world were, when actually we had our own version of that. And then the following lines are, but since an embryo in my mother's womb, a new release we was coming soon. I hope I'm just another colored brew with no wife, kids, or a honeymoon. Now once again, focusing on that stereotype that I started with, of the fact that, a lot of colored males, especially, they end up just falling into the pitfalls of society and the traps of society. As far as everything that's put out for them to fail, they actually succeed in taking those offers instead of rejecting them. So we divorce our women, and sometimes when we get married to our women, we don't have, complete families. We have broken families, and usually it's because of the colored male leaving the house. So it's also the line of, they hope I'm just another colored brew with no wife, kids, or a honeymoon. It's like they don't even want me to have a happy home life and a happy family and a stable family structure. They want that to be crumbled as well. Because as me and Slicker spoke about in the balcony interview, once you break that, and once you take away the alpha, from his home, you kind of make it easier for everything else to split up and break apart as well. They hope I collapse and I don't balance and I go backwards to the low standards, but I won't have it. I'm the commander of my own planet, so god damn it. Like, that's the frustration building up. They hope I collapse and I don't balance. They hope that I don't succeed. They hope that I don't overcome the struggles that are put out for me, so that I can just be another statistic, basically, as a colored male, as a colored man of South Africa, because many of the Cape Townian coloreds that you see, gangsterism, drugs, unemployment, poverty, these are things that are all too familiar with him. So how can I be any different? What makes me different? How is it possible that anything I could do will make me succeed in life? Those are like me, it's like me questioning almost the mission statement that's been put forth to us. It's saying that we have to be a certain way and we have to live in a certain area. Like, I don't believe in that. I believe that we can succeed and we can surpass the boundaries and the barriers that are set out by society for us to fail. This is something that you need to hear aloud. Brown men say the world is ours, but those in power never will allow us to hold it because they think we'll burn it down, because they know that we're the flame starters. The chosen ones is who we take after. We were raised harder. We came conquered and showed middle fingers to the slave master. I need to be getting Pulitzer prizes for this shit, man. I need to be getting prizes for this skak, for my writing abilities, man. Because nobody out there currently in South Africa now is actually addressing the past that has played such a significant role in this current future we are living in. And I feel like because rappers all come from a similar background of, you know, the hood and the ghetto and the townships, like, because we are the ones that succeeded and made it out of those circumstances, even though we don't forget, like, we should be the ones telling the world what's going on there, because those people, they support us. But nevertheless, the chosen ones is who we take after. We were raised harder, we came conquered. The flame starters, I mean, once again, it's all referring to the aggression and the violence and the anger that one feels after being, you know, suppressed and being, you know, being enslaved mentally and physically for all those years that brown people have suffered in South Africa. So I mean, with all the oppression that has taken place already in South Africa towards brown people, like, for us as the young generation, that should anger us. You know what I mean? That should make us feel like we need to fight on behalf of those who couldn't fight, and speak on behalf of those who couldn't be heard, you know, and stand up for those who couldn't even take a stand, you know, during those days. That's why I say us as the rappers, you know, we should be more outspoken, and we should be, you know, on the front line of everything, you know, anything social and anything that raises social awareness. Like, we need to be speaking, and we need to be addressing it always, because we are the reporters of the world. And South Africa has enough content for you to write books, do documentaries, make films. Like salute to YoungstaCPT and Slicker for, you know, also like creating this platform for Owens to explain their lyrics and explain themselves as artists, because a lot of the time these words go over people's heads because there's a beat, it's catchy, you're dancing, you're not listening, you know. But these few lines, just to go back to the title of the song, Old Kappie. Old Kappie, I mean, as you know, oupa is a blade, it's a knife that was used, you know, back in the days. And my grandfather, whom the album is based on, and he's the cover as well, for me, he's an old Cape Townian, a resident, he's an old Kappie. So the song itself is, number one, about, you know, the reference to a knife, how sharp it is, how you can get cut by it, how if you're not careful when you handle it, you know, it can bring harm to you. And then on the other side, it's also about the old generation of Cape Town who feel that anger and who feel like they were left behind by society and not mentioned in society. And now they see actually society hasn't even changed to the point where their children are experiencing the same struggle or a similar struggle, and they can't do anything about it because they've seen the situation play out before. They've seen the cycle repeat itself. So because their bodies are now weary and tired, like, they can't fight on our behalf, they can't speak on our behalf. So it's actually up to us to carry that torch, to carry that message over. But I don't see, you know, many guys who's willing to battle this problem, you know, these problems that are occurring. The final lines are, Lord, I pray for all my slaves. Every word I say is like Mandora blades. When I think of all of those who fought and gave their life and aren't even in the Hall of Fame. So once again, that's taking it back to the fact that our ancestors and our grandparents, great-grandparents, you know, if you will, they unfortunately won't be mentioned when it's time to, you know, to praise those who led a revolution, or those who were, you know, very vocal in society in the past. So it serves as a reminder that once again, it's up to us. Once again, as the current generation, the Y generation, you know, to lead Generation Z into a better future, because unfortunately the grandparents couldn't do it for our parents couldn't do it for us. So where does that leave us? Does that leave us in a position of saying like, oh, because no one else could win, or because no one else could solve the problems, we won't be able to either, so we have to just let it play out once again and poison the coming generation as well? I don't agree with it. I don't think that that's a logical answer. I don't think that that's something that we should settle for, you know. The way society has actually been structured and set out, there was no way for our predecessors to even succeed in life. Whether it was educationally, whether it was financially, there was no way for them to actually level up, as one would say, and reach new heights as a people and as a race. There was no way that we were going to do it. So because that has occurred generationally, now we're sitting here with a similar problem that we have to now find a solution for. And yet we have no idea what the root of the problem is, we have no idea what the cause of the problem was. But this is why I'm doing my history, so that I can figure out when this started, when it took place, and how we can find a present day solution to a past problem. The last lines are, Zubay goes, fuck the quotas, for my soldiers who got their throats cut, slam dunk, fuck a donut. I took revenge for my oupa. Like, rah! And as usual, I mean, once again, like, I stick to the topic of my songs. You'll see a lot of artists that have names of songs and kak, but it's not even about that. Like, the song will be named something, and what they're actually saying on it is like a totally different thing to what the title of the song was. Whereas with me, I try and very much like tailor make my songs to fit a certain theme or a certain topic and a certain subject, and I stick to it throughout the song. Because I believe that when you're watching a movie that's called A Bug's Life, you don't see the fucking story of a grasshopper, you know, or like some other goddamn animal. You're here to see the bug's life, you know what I mean? You're watching Aladdin. I don't fucking read about Hercules, bro. I'm here to watch Aladdin, you know what I'm saying? So I think rappers also need to start getting a bit, you know, more creative and take the craft a lot more serious than it is. Because if you're just looking at it as a song, if you're just looking at it as, oh, people's gonna dance to it, and that's cool. Like, you have to make music like that to stay relevant, to stay consistent, and obviously to secure your bags. But at the same time, music has not always played the role of entertaining. It's not always been there for the club. There's blues music that always spoke to the soul and described what it was like growing up in, you know, the recession that occurred in America, for Black America. There was reggae music that always addresses issues and social issues. If you listen to half of Bob Marley's music, most of it is about what was happening in the world. Some of it about Jamaica, but some of it is happening in the world. It wasn't even just occurring in his environment. So I think music has always served as a tool of healing, you know, and education as well. And the fact that rappers of today actually don't even try anymore and educate makes me look fucking crazy. It makes me look like, well, why is he trying to educate when there's 90 Owens that's not? So now there's like, it's like 89, you know, and there's always going to be more guys that's preaching, you know, the message of materialism. But the last lines, as Ubay goes, fuck the quotas. For those of you who know about the fashion of Cape Town, if you know streetwear and shit like that of that nature, you'll know that Subagos and the quotas are like, I think they call them dockside shoes. It's like yacht, boat club attire, you know. And all my life I've known the quotas was like the second to Zubagos. And I'm looking at it like, if my Owens have been through the battlefield, if my Owens have survived, you know, basically the Cape Flats, they've survived Cape Town, they've survived the Wood, whatever it is, they don't deserve the quotas, bro. They don't deserve the second best. They deserve Zubagos. They deserve the fucking top tier, bro. They deserve quality for surviving what they have been through. Which is why I say Zubagos, fuck the quotas for my soldiers who got their throats cut. That's for the Owens that didn't survive. So because they survived, they deserve to wear Zubagos. They deserve to wear gold, they deserve to wear Pringle, they deserve to wear Gant, they deserve to wear the best now because they've overcame the situation. Slam dunking fuck a donut. So Dunkin' Donuts is just a punchline for your ass. Slam dunking fuck a donut. And you know the song of me and Deleuze called Slam Dunk, so I was like, yeah, we're gonna slam dunk on the ass now, fuck a donut. Like, it's still no sleep, it's still practice, it's still game day, it's still on, you know. I took revenge for my oupa, and that brings me back once again to the title of the song called Old Kappie, being that I couldn't really do anything when I was a child for my grandfather, and being that I wasn't there in his youth to see him battle and see him having to fight against an oppressive system. Now that I'm of age, now that my legs are a bit stronger, now that I can stand a bit taller, and now that I have a stage and a microphone, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna make it any better for the coming generations than he could make it for my mother and that my mother could make it for me? So at the end of the day, the song serves as almost like a baton, as the white people say, a baton. You pass on to, you know, to your predecessors and your prodigies, and I feel like he passed it on to me through all my life just by speaking to me and by educating me on certain things that school wasn't going to. So because he has given me so much knowledge and intelligence, and now I'm giving it to an audience and to listeners, I feel like I owe him, because people love me for a certain thing that I say, and those things that I say have been told to me by the different male figures in my life, my grandfather being the main influence. So if you love what I'm saying, technically you love what he told me. So I owe him, I need to repay him in some way. And one way that he would want me to repay him is to defend my honor and defend this land you know, and fight for what is ours and fight for what is mine. He wouldn't want me to just roll over and accept defeat. And I feel like sometimes that is the easiest thing that people do, is just accept when they cannot, you know, when they cannot win. And I don't do that. I got 30 mixtapes. It's my first album, 22 songs, no features. Does that look like somebody that's, you know, quick to give up and quick to back down? So Old Kappie is basically a generational fire. It's the flames of the past that are setting ablaze to the future. Pasok.
All new applicants, and I challenge rappers because they're mannequins and they want to.
Yo, what's up? It's YoungstaCPT, Youngster Caps, that YVR, Young Van Riebeek, and you were just behind the bars decoding my track called Old Kappie, taken from my debut album, 3T. Make sure you go out there and get 3T available on all respectable platforms, my bro. Salutas.
Kappie, go boss.